next, remember, it just sit up, right?
Okay.
Versus other truck, right?
Yeah, did.
So this the power steering reservoir. It's properly mounted, not damaged. It's at the proper fill mark between add and full, and not what it holds liquid, so it's not what it holds liquid, not leaking. Anything with air and liquid, remember, not leaking. Okay, your wires not frayed, cut, slice, or tape. Your hose not leaking because fluid running through there. Okay, and then your oil dipstick. Your oil dipstick is right here. It's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. Make sure it's at the proper fill mark between add and full.
Proper fill mark between add and full. That's another. I gotta get that.
So properly mounted, not damaged, for like the reservoir, the oil, at the coolant is at the proper fill mark between add and full. Okay. Not leaking. Properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking, add and full. Okay. Next, we go to your air compressor. I mean your power steering pump right here. The same thing, you see how it moved, but you see how it's still on top? It's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. So to find where your power steering pump is on any truck,
follow this.
Nope, this your drive shaft.
Okay.
You see this right here?
Follow the power steering.
The hose.
Hose.
See this hose right here?
Okay.
And look, you see it in right here. You see it? That's the hose.
Okay.
That take you right to the power steering pump.
Okay.
On any truck, follow the hose. Right here. This the hose right here. And then you see it's coming from right here. Right here. This your power steering where you pull the fluid right here. And this the hose. And it's running right here to the pump.
Okay.
Y'all, you see it?
I'm sorry, y'all.
Okay, no. You see it? Did you see it? Okay. So that's how you can identify your pump. So on any truck, if you can't just point it out, find this, which is your power steering reservoir where you pull the fluid, right? You got two holes running from there. You got one running to the pump, and you got one running to the steering gearbox. Because that's what make this turn. You see how it's connected? That's what make that turn. Right? So it's properly mounted. Your power steering pump is properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. What sit on top of there right here, this block right here, that's your air compressor. They sit together on every truck because they on one ride. You got your power steering pump at the bottom, got your AC compressor, your air compressor at the top.
Okay. So what you said was on the other part of that, the air?
Well, that was the air condenser.
Air condenser. Okay.
So everything over here you need is the
okay, so this the air
compressor. Now this you need. So I got my air compressor. It's properly mounted. It's not damaged, not leaking. It's gear driven. So you have to identify if it's gear driven. And on the water pump, you got to identify if it's belt or gear driven. The alternator has to identify if it's belt or gear driven. I never seen the water pump gear driven. Maybe something new they gonna create. But every water pump is belt. And it sit on the right hand side.
Even in the car.
Even in the car, it's belt driven, right? So you got your water pump, your alternator, belt driven. Both of them belt driven. I never seen a gear driven alternator.
Neither.
Always seen belt.
Okay.
So the only thing is your power steering pump, air compressors is gear driven.
Okay. Here.
Even if you forget to say the power steering pump is gear driven, that's not gonna hurt you. But you have to identify as the air compressor gear driven or belt driven. Okay.
Okay.
So don't forget that. With the
Always gear driven.
it's always gear driven. It's always gear driven. Unless, like, I think I just looked at the bus, but that bus old, and it got a belt.
Okay.
I never seen a belt driven compressor ever until I opened up that unit. Okay. But on the truck, they gear driven.
All the air compressors, right?
Yeah, because they usually sit behind the engine. When they behind the engine, they usually gear driven.
Right.
Okay. So next, I'm gonna check my steering gearbox. Make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. That's it. Move on. So like I was telling Nikki, you can put this together. You got your pitman arm, your drag link, your steering knuckle right here. This your steering knuckle. Okay. And that bar back here on the ground, like close right here, that's your tire ride. Okay. So you're gonna say I'm gonna check my pitman arm, my drag link, steering knuckle with the tire ride, And a tie rod with the Kessel nut. It's your Kessel nut. You see, I kind of like the Kessel at the top. And your cotter pin, this little thin piece of wire, metal piece. That's a cotter pin. So I'm gonna check my pitman iron, my drag link, my steering knuckle, and my tie rod in with the Kessel nut and cotter pin. Make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, no missing parts. Okay? So the missing parts is the Kessel nut and cotter pin that's talking about. Properly mounted and damaged, your pitman iron, your drag link, your steering knuckle, your tie rod. You can put them all together, that cut some stuff down, right? Properly mounted, not damaged, no missing parts. So much your Kessel nut cotter pin. I'm gonna check my front mount with the hangers and bushes. Make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, no missing parts. Talking about your hanger and your bushes, okay? You can actually see this bushes right there. Like right in here, this big old piece right here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna check my front mount, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged. No missing parts, no missing hangers and bushes. I'm gonna check my leaf spring, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, not cracked, no shifted leaf. So the important thing is properly mounted, not damaged, no shifted leaf. So cracked, broken is added. But if you remember, it's better. Okay? So I got your center mount with the U-bolts. It's properly mounted, not damaged, no missing parts. Talking about your U-bolts. Properly mounted, not damaged, no missing part. This one got an airbag. It's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. Okay? And then once again, what we gonna do that last? You got your, this is your shock absorber, and the shock mount is behind this thing right here. But it's a mount that hold it. So I'm checking my shock mount and shock absorber, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking, because it hold air, right? And then next right here, so this right here, this the only hose and wires you had to check separate, because you remember me going, so I'm gonna check all of them, but this we had to check separate. So I'm gonna check my hose and wires, my brake hose and wires, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking, not cut, not spliced, not exposed, not taped, right? This right here, this piece right here, that's your brake chamber. Properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. This right here, this little piece right here, that's your slack adjuster. See this how it's like wrapped around right here? This piece right here.
Yeah.
Right there. That's your slack adjuster. It's properly mounted, not damaged. No more than an inch of play when the brakes are off. Not a half inch, an inch. 1 inch. Okay?
What if you miss saying it?
It's a point. But try not to.
Okay.
It's a point though. If you miss it, it's just a point. You get 30 points to mess up. But don't use them, you know. Go in, because once you go in, like you know your stuff, sometimes you don't even make it back there.
Okay.
But
you did so
you
well.
cue this part here,
Now you know what you're doing.
right, to the end of the truck, your axle, they don't even, sometimes, and you go out with confidence.
Cool. Yay.
Yeah, you don't even finish the whole thing. So, but this main part here and that axle, if you get that down pat, you already passed because you got enough points to pass. Okay. So, so the next thing right here, this little bar right here, that's called your push rod. Right there, you see it? Right here. This right here. That's your push rod. It's properly mounted, not damaged. It's not bent, and it's not cracked.
It's your airbag, the white thing.
Your airbag right there.
Right there.
Yes. That's your airbag. And this thing right here, that's the mount for the airbag. So I'm gonna check my airbag mount and airbag, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. Okay. So you point down here. I'm gonna check my, once you do your brake chamber, slack adjuster, push rod, hose and wire, I'm gonna check my drum liner. Make sure it's not cracked. Make sure it's not worn dangerously thin. No signs of oil or grease. That's very important. Don't forget that. And if they ask you what's worn dangerously thin, 1/2 of an inch. That's worn dangerously thin. Okay. Because the reason why I'm telling y'all that, because some of the examiners was asking what's dangerously thin. 1/2 of an inch. That's for your drum liner. Okay. My tires is properly mounted, not damaged. No tread separation, no cuts, no bulges. The tire depth should be no less than 4/32 and 4/32 of an inch. Okay. My rim is properly mounted, not damaged. No wheel marks. Okay. Your lug nuts and studs is properly mounted, no damaged studs. No rust trails, no shiny threads, no cracks or distortion around the bolt holes. Okay? This is called your hub seal. It's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. You can check through the sight glass. Make sure it's at the proper field mark. Very important, don't forget this. What I didn't say on this tire.
The air
valve. Very important. Do not forget that you got 18 wheels on this tire. That's 18 points. So your air valve right here, properly mounted, not damaged. You can check with an air gauge. Make sure it's at the proper PSI with a cap. Miss the cap, 18 points. You got 18 tires. Okay. So it's properly. Don't forget it, even if you gotta go there first. Because you see, you was down looking for it, right? Out of sight, out of mind. Even if you gotta go there first. Go there first, I'm gonna check my air valve, make sure it's properly mounted.
Now I was trying to see what you said about a level.
The hub seal right here?
Yeah.
It's the sight glass, it's kind of dirty, but this is the sight glass.
Yeah.
Make sure it's at the proper
okay.
field mark.
So every tire got one of those?
Nope.
Okay.
The front do. So some of the trailers we got hub in the back, but most trailers got axle, which is in the back. But like the trailers y'all gonna be testing on have plugs.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. You see the hub, you see this little red thing you can pop off and you can actually fill it up.
And that's a hub.
That's a hub.
Okay.
And with the axle, you need tools. Well, this one got a little cover on it. But with the axle, that's just a cover, that pop off. But you see on the truck right there, you see I got like little nuts, you need tools to take that off. And you see how round it is? That's the axle. So what they do when they fix it, they pull all the fluid in there, put that on there and seal it up. So that one you can't actually pop off and check how you can do this one. Because usually axle seals got airbags. Usually hub is all spring. Okay? But they start making, like Volvo start making it. You got the spring, but they added the airbag. Usually it's just straight spring. And you got hub, okay? So once you check all this, you move along. I'm gonna check my mirror mount, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, no missing parts. I'm gonna check my door, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, make sure it open, make sure it closed. I'm gonna check the hinges right here. So you just point. I'm gonna check the hinges, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged. I'm gonna check my weather seal, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, no missing parts. I'm gonna check my stairs, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, free from debris. And you have to do this on your test. Make sure it can hold my weight. Jump up, okay? Make sure it can hold your weight, okay? Shut the door. The next is your fuel tank. You got your fuel tank, so you can put this together. I'm gonna check my fuel tank with the strap, the lines, and the cap. Make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking, not exposed, cut, spliced, or taped. Make sure my cap is on tight. So when you say missing parts, you're talking about your straps. Okay, so right here is this the catwalk with the stairs, properly mounted, not damaged, free from debris. Okay, when you point down, just point down. Every truck, drive shaft with the U-joints. U-joints. Everything else is bolt.
Okay.
Right here, this right here.
What's it called?
Drive shaft.
Drive shaft.
And you see right here? You see how this is? That's your U-joints.
I know that.
So this your drive shaft, and this right here is your U-joints, okay? So it's properly mounted, not damaged, free from debris. You're gonna check your frame with the cross member from the front of the truck. You pointing, I'm gonna check my frame with the cross member from the front of the truck to the tip of the truck. Right here, this the tip of the truck.
Okay.
Make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, no wheel marks. Okay, so cross member frame can go together. Drive shaft U-joints go together. Catwalk stairs go together. So basically you call out what you see. If you go on manual, y'all don't have stairs, but y'all do have a catwalk. Every truck got a catwalk. Okay, dry shell U-joints. Properly mounted, not damaged. Free from debris. You're gonna check your air lines and your electrical lines. You're checking it from here. So you're gonna say, I'm gonna check my air line, my electrical lines. Make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking, not exposed, not cut, not spliced. Make sure my glad hands is in lock position. These are your glad hands. Glad hands, okay? So you gonna say, I'm gonna check my air lines and my glad hands. Make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking, not exposed, not cut, not spliced, okay, not taken. Make sure my glad hands is in lock position. So this is the way that I work, okay? So this is called, you know what it's called?
Your what?
No, your bulkhead.
Oh, bucket. Oh.
On the trailer, just call your bulkhead.
Okay,
It's properly mounted, not damaged, no holes, no missing rivets. They talking about these. No missing rivets, okay? And that's it, right? So I like to work down. This is your splash guards. It's properly mounted, not damaged. Clear clearance. Okay?
What's it for?
To keep, you know how the rain come and the rocks, they keep it from hitting the well, this don't have a window, but people in day cab stuff keep it from damaging the back of your truck. Okay, so this is your protection. All the rocks and stuff.
The boats is important.
This rivets, yeah. Because that's, you know, that's what hold the trailer together, right? So out of sight, out of mind is your well, your brake, your slack, god damn it, your front mount, or you could say your torque mount. And the reason why I said it on this one, you see this right here, this one. This is your leaf spring, so you can say my front mount with the leaf spring. But if you get back here, because it's a torque in the back, you can say my torque mount. So you can get in the habit saying in the back, because right here, this is a torque. So you do have a front mount with a leaf spring on here, but you also could say your torque mount, because it's this one hanger is working for both. Okay, so you could say I got my front mount with the leaf spring. Make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, no shifted leaves, not cracked or broken, right? And just say, if you say I got my torque mount, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged. Okay, so out of sight, out of mind, so I won't forget. Once you finish here, point down. I got my brake chamber, properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. I'm gonna check the hose, the brake hose and wire, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking, not exposed, cut, slice, or tape. Slack adjuster, no more than an inch of play when the brakes are off. I got the push rod, not bent, cracked, or broken, okay? Every brake chamber have a slack adjuster and a push rod, hoses and wires. Don't forget your brake chamber. Remember, you got 18 tires, okay? So if you work here, that's why I got me a system. Once I clear all this, I hit my splash guard, my front mount with the leaf springs, or you say torque mount. Brake chamber automatically. I can't see it from here. I got my brake chamber. If you're doing auto, you can't see it here.
Okay.
Even if you turn here, you can't see it, right? So brake chamber, go straight there. Next, remember I said this is your pointer. So you point here because now if you don't want to crawl up under the truck, so be it, but you don't have to.
Right.
I seen people all up under the tree. You don't have to do all that. Okay.
Okay.
So y'all got my center mount with the U bolts, properly mounted, not damaged, no missing parts. I got my shock mount, shock absorbers, properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. Airbag. So I got my air. You can say I got the rear mount with the airbags, because this is like technically a rear mount, but it's just an airbag. Okay. It's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. I got my drum liner, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, not cracked. No sign of oil or grease. Not worn dangerously thin. Right here is your bud spacers. It's properly mounted, not damaged, free from debris, evenly spaced. Tire, properly mounted, not damaged, no cuts, no bulges, no tread separation. Tire dust should be no less than what here? 2/32 back here, 2/32 of an inch, no less. Your rims, properly mounted, not damaged, no well repair. Low nuts and studs, properly mounted, not damaged, no rust trail, no shiny threads, no crescent distortion around the bowl hole, no damaged stud, no missing parts. Air valve, properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. Check with an air gauge. Make sure it's at the proper PSIs. and also have a cap. Don't forget the cap. This right here, even though it got this cover on there, that's your axle seal. These your drive tires. Every drive tire have axle seals. Okay? The front is hood. The back is axle. Always. Hood, axle. The only thing switch up, you might got axle back there, or you might got hood. But these trailers are older, so they mainly is hood. But all the newer trailers got axle because it's airbag. Right, okay? So, but on every truck, your drive tires, which is these, those your steering, these your drivers, and those your tandles. They have axle seals. Properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. Once you clear this perfectly, I'm going to check this axle the same way I did this axle. Now I'm going to check this axle the same way I did this axle. You didn't even check this axle. I'm going to check this axle the same way I did this axle. Not that I'm going to check this tire. He going to give you the points for the tires, but you miss everything else. Right. So I'm going to check this axle the same way I did this axle. Oh, yeah. So because that keep you from repeating all this. All right. So right here, this thin piece of metal right here, this called your apron. This your apron.
Oh.
And what's connected to the apron is a kingpin, which connect the trailer to the truck. Okay? So when you think of apron, think of kingpin, because that's another thing out of sight, out of mind, right? So I'm going to check my apron, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, no holes. With the kingpin, make sure it's not bent or broken, okay? Huh? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm going to show them in a minute. Thank you. So the apron with the kingpin is properly mounted, not damaged, right? Not bent or broken. The apron don't have no holes.
It's your fifth wheel right
This
there.
your fifth wheel, yes sir. This your fifth wheel. Make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, properly greased. No visible light between the apron and the fifth wheel. Okay. Make sure my locker jaws. So now you're just pointing. Make sure the handle is in lock position. Make sure the locker jaws is wrapped around the kingpin. Okay. Make sure there's no visible light between the apron and the fifth wheel. Make sure your fifth wheel is properly greased. Okay. And then come on down, it's the platform that's holding the fifth wheel. It's properly mounted, not damaged, no missing parts. These are your mounting bolts right here. It's properly mounted, not damaged, no missing parts. All right, so that's it. We move on. These are your mud flaps, properly mounted, not damaged. Make sure it's not dragging the ground. It's clear clearance. Right here, these right here, these are your I-beams. I-beams. Like your eye, like an I-beam. Properly mounted, not damaged. In the middle is the floor, the trailer floor. It's properly mounted, not damaged, no holes. Landing gear. This is the frame. This is the arm, the leg, and this the foot. Properly mounted, not damaged. Okay, make sure the legs is fully raised. Make sure the handle is in lock position. And that's it. I'm going to check my trailer from the top to the bottom, all the way down the side. Make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, no holes, no missing rivets. Make sure it has DOT tape. Sometimes you might see the trailer is missing like a part here, then it's here. That's not considered missing because you can have at least 50%, okay? Some people like to put it all the way down. That's fine. So if you miss a space here, it's cool as long as you have 50%, okay? So you're going to check it from the top to the bottom, all the way down on the side, no holes, no missing rivet. Make sure you have a DOT tape. Then you come back here. So what you add in now is your air electrical lines. Make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. No exposed wires, not cut, splice, or tape. Okay? Tandem release lock. Properly mounted, not damaged. Make sure it's in lock position. How you can tell. You see the handle? You see it push down right here? That's how you tell it's in lock position. Just say if it was a button. You see this bolt right here? Right here. You see this bolt right here? That's how you can tell that it's locked because it's pointing out. That's if you have a button. If you don't have a button, you got a handle, you can check right here. Make sure it's in lock position. Right here. So the same thing, you got this the torque mount, this the torque, this is the leaf spring. You see I got two? The top one is always the leaf, the bottom is the torque. So just say you get back here and there's only one thick big bar with the mount, that's a torque mount. But if it have two like this, that's you could say a front mount with the leaf spring. Or you can say torque mount, okay? Properly mounted, not damaged, no missing part, not shifted, not cracked or broken. Same thing, you go check every time you got the center mount with the U-bolts. So I'm gonna check my center mount with the U-bolts, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, no missing part. So this trailer actually has a rear mount. You see this? I'm gonna check the rear mount, make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, no missing hangers or bushes. Okay, that's the rear mount. So once again, don't forget your brake chamber. You can actually see your brake chamber up here. It's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. The hose and wires not cut, slice, or exposed. Slack adjuster, still have a slack adjuster. There's no more than an interplay when the brakes are off. The push rod is not bent, cracked, or broken. Okay? And once you do that, you do your drum lining, properly mounted, not damaged, not cracked, no sign of oil or grease. So basically you're repeating yourself. No sign of oil or grease, not worn down too thin. Buzz spacers, free of debris, evenly spaced, properly mounted, not damaged. Rim, no welding marks. Little nuts and studs, properly mounted, not damaged. No rust trail, no shiny thread, no cracks or distortion around the bow holes. No damaged stud, no missing parts. Air valve, properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. Check with the air gauge, make sure that the proper PSI with the cap. Okay? This right here is an axle seal. You see how you gotta use a machine to take that off? Hull seal is like a little thing you can pop on. This is a axle seal. It's properly mounted, not damaged, not leaking. I'm gonna check this axle the same way I did this axle. Once again, I'm gonna check this axle the same way I did this axle. That's done. So you come back here. Mud flip, properly mounted, not damaged. Okay, properly mounted, not damaged, clear clearance. Okay? Next, you're gonna do your doors. You're gonna check your hinges. You're gonna make sure it's in lock position. You're gonna make sure you have any struts or anything hanging. Make sure they are secure, put away. It's properly mounted, not damaged. No missing hinges. Make sure I have a weather seal. Make sure your handle is in lock position. I'm gonna check my DOT bumper. Properly mounted, not damaged. Make sure I have DOT tape. I'm gonna check my license plates and license plate lights. Properly mounted, not damaged. Make sure the lights are working properly, right? I got red lights in the back, amber everywhere else. Make sure it's properly mounted, not damaged, and working properly, okay? I'm gonna check my passenger side the same way I did my driver's side. That's gonna cover it all. You don't have to do that no more. So I'm gonna check my passenger side, same way I did my driver's side, okay?
All right.
And that complete your, what'd I forget? Oh, you went over here. The 3 L's, you went over here. Lights, leaks, and lean. So you're gonna check to make sure there's nothing leaking, make sure your truck not leaning, and then you do your light show. But like I said, if you do that really good, you'll be like, let's go. Good, you pass, be done.
Cool.